Hi, this is Lindsay, one of the co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Disarming disability.
Welcome back. We just went through an awesome chapter called Getting Active, which we are going to talk more about, and we're going to talk through our thoughts and decompress and just talk about what we learned with each other. But before we do that, Sarah, we have to ask you, the last time we were talking with you, you are going to meet a very special friend. Can you remind us of what that was and then tell us how that went?
Absolutely. When we had recorded our guest, Becky, who spoke about disability in the email, she just said, hey, can we do a shout out for Evie and her family that are living in Prescott, Arizona. Evie has a hand that it just has a hand difference. And Becky had met them on an airplane and showed them the American Airlines video that I had done. And they just thought it was so cool. So they're like, hey, I actually get to meet Sarah and we're talking with Sarah. So can we just do a shout out hey, Evie, look at this connection. And then we wrote back. I was like, wait, do you mean Prescott, Arizona? What? What do you mean Prescott, Arizona? I happen to be in Prescott right now. I came to sort of help out with some things that were going on in my family. So I was like, oh my God, wait, I'm here. We have to meet up. So I was able to get the contact information for both Evie and her family. And we met up. We got some at this really cute little bakery that is Jenny's, Evie's mother, that really likes. So she took me out there, got a little cinnamon roll. All the girls got little yogurt bowls. And she brought Evie, who's her youngest daughter. And then she has two daughters that are older than Evie. So we just went to the park and we just sort of sat and chatted. And it just was really beautiful to see them. And they were really excited to see me. And just to be able to talk about all the things. And of course, Evie's younger, so she's just like, oh, this is awesome. I love it. And it just was really cool. And then just so validating to hear some of just what Jenny's experience has been. And it's just this is why the work that we're doing is so important, which is really fun. And Jenny is awesome. And I had called my partner afterwards. I was like, oh my God, Jenny, someone, I'm going to be her friend. We would totally be friends. So then a couple of days later, she's like, if you ever want to go get drinks, let me know. And then we did. We went out last weekend, and just me and Jenny and her, one of her really good friends that's in the town too. So it was just so nice to connect. And then, after we've been out for a little bit, there's lots of no, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. You're so sweet. So it just was so much love and just so excited to be able to connect with them and to just be able to fill that or complete that circle. And of course, Jenny had lots of questions, and Evie had some questions, and her sisters had some questions, and it really just a cool hangout. So, fun for me to be able to see somebody, with a limb difference. That's absolutely something that I love, and be able to connect, and then fun for them to be able to see somebody with a limb difference too. And I'm just so excited, and just sort of reflecting that the first time I had met anybody with a limb difference, I was 19. So having to go through all of that on my own, I'm just so excited for these, they seem small, but very important changes that we're in the world right now, where we can be connected through, social medias and whatever, and in emails, and be able to make all those things. So it just was so fun, and I'm so grateful, and they have such a beautiful family, and I'm so excited for them. And I'm just so excited for these parts of the world that Evie can grow up in, and just trying to do right by her, and sort of remembering her face and the work that I'm doing, and just trying to be the brightest possible light for her and for, all of the girls that are growing up right now with limb difference, and boys too, and whatever, but, everybody growing up with limb difference, just so that we can create a better world so they can be proud of who they are.
It's so beautiful and so special. It's so special. I love it.
Right? The stars just aligned. So it was really wonderful. All right. So this is our chapter review of the Getting Active chapter. And just sort of as a reminder, we've had a really wonderful experts for this section. We had Jay Ruderman from the Ruderman Foundation. And then we had Danielle, who is a casting director. And then we had Emily from ADA 25, Advancing Leadership. And then we had Becky from Disability In, which is a organization that is a consulting organization that partners with pretty prominent and pretty massive organizations as far as how they can make their companies more inclusive for people with disabilities.
Yeah, it was great. So if you missed any of them, we're going to talk about it now. So I guess in theory that would get you caught up, but like these experts are amazing, and I would really encourage you to go back and take a listen to the amazing things that they had to say. Again, just such, like, when we say the word expert, we mean experts. These people are doing the work day in and day out, and they're passionate about it, and they are thoughtful about it, and they're in it for the long game. So really, they are building beautiful foundations and beautiful stepping stones for the disability community as a whole, which is so cool. And my favorite part, like, it's not a short-term thing. It's not a quick, this is helpful to me. It really is people who are thinking about the community as a whole. And I think that's my first thought.
And I think that, like, these are our leaders that are creating actual change right now. Like, they are the ones who have been, like, leading and researching and studying and being, being a part of all these different groups. But they're the ones that are writing how we move forward with disability in our cultures today, and sort of in each of their different, very distinct groups.
Yes, I agree. And I think that what was fun about this group is they are change makers from the inside, I guess is going to be the term that I use. All four of them are working inside a system of sorts, and inside this system, they are creating relationships, they are creating opportunities, they are meeting with correct people in order to create change. So you can be an activator outside the space, right? You can be somebody who is not within the system, who is asking for change, begging for change, demanding change. But then there are the people inside the activated space as well. And that's definitely what these four people were doing. And it was fun to hear the different ways that they went about that. Because, for example, it was really fun, I thought, to hear from Jay Ruderman, who, it's a family foundation. He is not every year, having to write some sort of grant proposal, hoping that he doesn't say the wrong thing so that way he's not getting money. He effectively, his foundation can do what they want when they want, right? I mean, of course it's, more than that, but really it makes it so he is able to be, and he talked about this in our interview, he's allowed to agitate and maybe say things that others maybe wouldn't be able to, for fear of some sort of retribution or fear of some sort of defunding or fear that, they wouldn't be able to continue on, for whatever reason that is. And it was fun to hear how he understood and realized that. And then the ways that he went about listening to people with disability and having them on boards and using their thoughts to understand the bigger problem, to write the white paper so he has the knowledge to back it up. Really doing the homework, but also then saying, I have the money to do what I want, let's go.
Yeah. And just so cool. Thankful that he chose this, and so thankful that he chose disability and is really intentionally being a huge support system and a really big driving force behind a lot of the work that is happening right now. And again, just not having like, okay, well, we have to get this thing, sort of approved, and maybe it doesn't fit in our financial budget this year. And maybe it's something that we believe in, but there's other things that are, that we need to get taken care of with this money. Like, there isn't any of that, so that change can happen faster. And he's like consulting with really prominent leaders too, to be able to write the white papers. And then they're building the 20 Link, I believe it's what it's called, or Link 20.
Link 20.
That is the organization of new, not new, but like younger advocates, so that they can have, be equipped with all of the information that is needed so that they can be change makers too, and sort of integrate change making as they do grow into their professional careers, which is just all so amazing. So it's not just like him being like, oh, look, I'm fabulous. Like, no, he's actually creating real change, and he's making sure that the change is sustainable by doing things like League 20 so that it can continue on and sort of has that backing and that sustainability.
I feel like, as I was coming into my disability pride a handful of years ago, I wish somebody had said, start with, here are 4 example organizations of work that's being done and community that exists. Because I just feel like these are spaces, these are the people I was looking for initially, and I didn't know how to find them simply because it took me asking and talking to a million people to figure out what the culturette was and who the people were and what it was. And of course, I mean, that's the whole idea of why you and I are doing this. Like, let's bring that information to the people. Let's find it, right? And I think these 4 are just such good conversations of what actively is happening. You are not alone. Like, I thought for the longest time, my story was just in a vacuum. I knew people paid attention to my story. I knew that I was special because people were paying attention to my story, but I did not understand the context of it. I didn't understand the history of it. I didn't understand the social dynamics that came into play. Nobody taught me disability models. I didn't understand models existed. And so once I woke up to that and I realized that these people and these places and these ideas existed, like, this is the work that I was so desperately seeking to find. So I guess what I'm just saying is, like, look into these more, because they're doing the work that you think it isn't being done. It's being done. Guess what? We need to talk about it.
It's being done.
I'm glad we're talking about it. Right? It's being done.
Yes. And that within all of these spaces, like, you can be a part of it. Like, you can apply to be on Link 20. You can, work through, if you want to be in acting, like, you can sort of work with different casting directors. Like, there's spaces for all of you to be a part of this, should you feel that that's what you want to be a part of, or if you're like, oh, like, this totally fits on board with my personality and the things that I want in life and the types of skills that I want to learn, and then the spaces that I want to work in, and that there's absolutely space for you. And if you're in the greater Chicago area, like, you can be a part of you can apply to be a part of the ADA 25 Advancing Leaders program and be connected with that network. And you can, if you're somebody who is, recently graduating from any type of STEM curriculum, that you can apply to be a part of Disability In, that is really working to partner you with an organization who is really actively trying to build disability into their world. And you can sort of have a supported setting and practice interviews and do internships to really get involved, because I feel like the climate is really changing and really wanting to listen and really wanting disability to be finally a part of it. And these, and this isn't just because now suddenly people decided, like, this is part of centuries of work that has been doing to try to get society at a space where this is the conversations that we're able to have. I even think back on my own life and just how powerful, like, learning about 504, in that, federally there should be no discrimination as far as, people being able to seek employment and housing. And I know that, that doesn't always look like that in the landscape, and stigma is still pretty heavy, but because of 504, like, I'm able to be a flight attendant, and I'm sure, and I know that there's a lot of people that were unable to be a flight attendant based on all of the standards that existed in, the 60s and the 70s. But just knowing that piece of legislation, like, really gave me access to be able to apply and then get hired as being a flight attendant in 2013, had I been alive or tried to apply to be a flight attendant in the 70s, and had I met every other aspect or, qualification for it, that they, that would have been completely impossible for me, because that was not, protected under it. So just knowing how that piece of legislature from that, whatever, before I was born, allowed me to be in the space that I am right now, and gave me that access, and just like how profound and powerful that is. And knowing that the work now that's being done, no worries. and to know that the work that's being done now is really continuing to provide access even broader than that for so many people who identify as having a disability, and even being proud of having a disability, right? I feel like I know both Nikki and I, we've both talked about sort of the need to feel normal, and then the need to really lose our disability identity, or not even be able to take on that as a piece that we would identify ourselves as being, or even being proud of it, because we were trying so hard to pass as normal, to have it not be brought up, because disability was not a conversation that was being had anywhere, let alone a conversation that was welcomed or sort of allowed to be in the space, if that made sense. Yeah. So I'm just super excited from where we've come, and I'm really excited for where we're going. And I know that there's still so much work that needs to be done. But I'm just really excited for all of these spaces that are opening up for everyone to get active and get involved in all of the different ways that work for them, and the work for the way that they want to.
Yes. I have nothing to add. Yes, that was perfection. Yeah, and I think what now you're starting to touch on is activism that we can be a part of. We're seeing a lot of activated spaces now with the Black Lives Matter movement, and there is a lot of activism that that I think we can take notice of, and it absolutely is not it's not about disability right now, although there certainly is huge conversations about intersectionality that need to happen and are happening right now. However, with that said, mindfully, that the activism we're seeing in real time are things that we can take notes on, and we can apply to our own version of rights that we're still fighting for, because it's true, we are.
People can get active so many ways. And I feel like there's very similar paths to activism that span across any, all types of movements that are happening and that have happened. And when I was in my occupational therapy program, I took a course that was on sort of like leadership and management. And one of the assignments that was required within the course was that we had to look up a bill that was either in the House or in the Senate. And we had to find something that was occupational therapy related and write a letter to our appropriate Congress members saying that we, wanted to support this bill or didn't want to support this bill for these reasons. And it was really cool because, I found a bill that it was something I really cared about. And it just was really powerful to be like, oh, wait, I can do this. And it doesn't take that much time. And I'm sure it takes, a little bit more mental clarity and energy to be in a space to sort of like dig around and look at bills. But I just didn't realize, maybe because I don't exist I didn't study politics or any of that type of stuff. And that's not necessarily, thinking of what bills are currently happening isn't something that typically is in my life. To be like, wait, I can actually look at what's going on. So you can go to congress.gov and they have all of the different bills that are up. You can sort of see where the bill has gone. You can click on the actual bill and read the actual verbiage as far as what's included in there. And sometimes bill titles sound great, but then when you open them up, you're like, oh, wait, I didn't think that these things would be included in there. If it's something that you really want, you can, or that you really believe in, whether supporting or not supporting, Congress members, that's their job, is to listen to the people, and you are the people. It just was really powerful to be like, you know what, we can. So I hope that if people feel compelled, where that's maybe where their voice is the strongest, or something along those lines, if that's something you want to do, you can totally look up to see what that's happening. Which is really powerful for me. And then similarly within organizations, whether you're working in them or you're partnering with them, people want feedback, right? People want to be, generally, I would hope organizations want to be organizations that are helpful for the people, and that you can be able to submit inquiries about that. I just uploaded a video on an Instagram platform, and it took me no joke, almost 2 hours to try to figure out how to get closed captioning subtitles on a 2-minute video to post up to Instagram. just because some other closed captioning systems, it's a little more automated, but just, it was so complicated to try to like get the transcript of the video to then try to find like, and, you know, you had to go through one application to get, you know, and these are all like third-party applications to get the transcript. And then I had to go to another one to like burn it into my video. And then I wasn't able to edit it. And so it was just like wildly, maddeningly frustrating. So then I wrote, you know, like a suggestions and comment feedback saying like, hey, Instagram, you know, like, please build a closed captioning component into your videos so that more people can have access to it. And something I found really powerful too was to look up mission statements for different organizations if you do want to contact them, and sort of like really, you know, if what you want falls in line with the things they have in their mission statement, then sort of use that. And I believe Instagram's mission statement was, you know, like sharing the world's moments. And, you know, and then I sort of wrote that in my, like, you know, little form thing that I submitted, just, you know, saying in order to like effectively share the world's moments, we need to make them accessible. And you know, there's a, you know, 1 in 20 people identify as deaf or hard of hearing that would really benefit closed captioning. And closed captioning not only helps our, you know, individuals create access, but also if you're in a space where you can't have a video playing out loud and you can just read the closed captions, like that creates access for people who don't necessarily identify with the deaf and hard of hearing community. So just, these are like really cool, small, like, you know, very tangible action steps that you can create advocacy in that way if, you know, sort of that, like using your voice in submitting feedback.
Yeah, it's kind of, I'm going to use these terms again and I'm totally making them up, but it's the idea of like, are you doing work inside the system? Or are you doing work outside the system? And so are you building the building blocks? Are you writing the bills? Or are you writing the letters to the people who are writing the bills? Are you marching to get the attention of the people writing the bills? Are you helping with verbiage and language on the bills? Are you consulting on the bills? You know, and that can apply to not only politics, but to companies, as you're talking about Instagram, or to different organizations that we see. Like, it applies in every single facet. And I think it's really important to understand that those two pieces of work are both equally important and equally needed, right? We need to be activating our voice in one way or the other, or whatever way we, you know, feel comfortable in, or maybe in one season of life, we're using it in one specific way, and in another, you know, a different way, or maybe we're doing it, you know, not 12 different ways, but both ways in 12 different facets all at the same time, you know? And I think it's so true. And it's, I think what I want to underline is just, regardless of how you feel compelled to get active and to connect, like if something is important to you and as you're learning, your voice is important, and it's important, in spaces, not only where you feel heard, but in spaces where you don't feel heard. And that we need to be speaking on both, and we need to be creating space in both, and both strategically from the inside and push from the outside as well. We need the agitation in both places. So we need that activism to be it needs to be activated. We got to activate the activism in both ways.
Yeah. And then talk about it. I think it's important.
Well, get active. That's how I feel. Let's find a way to start. I mean, the term I like to use is I like to yell into the void, quote unquote. And I just yell. However I'm feeling that day, I just yell. So find your way to yell into the void.
I love it. Find your way to yell into the void, and it is here for you. And we'll post those links and resources too on this website as well. I'm sorry, the Disarming Disability webpage is associated to this episode. But yeah, get out, get active, make change happen. Let's create a better world, guys. And more inclusive world.
And connect with community. Community is so important, and disability as a whole, and us remembering that we can be a community all together, even if we have all these cool like flavors and facets and intersections, that we still are one community. Yeah.
We are one community, and you should be proud of that community. And Awesome. We're so excited to share that we partnered with Hannah, and she is this really wonderful human, and she is an artist, and she makes stickers, and she identifies as having a limb difference, and she is starting an occupational therapy program. So of course I'm in love. And she makes these really beautiful stickers, and she partnered with us to create a Be Proud sticker. And we're so excited to share that has dropped this week. And just really coming back to that disability and your identity are things that you should be proud of. And that we hope that everybody feels proud of sort of all of their identities, and that, to not sort of be, stifled or ashamed of disability. I knew I felt ashamed of my hand for a very long time, but just sort of this, be proud of who you are. So these stickers are up. They are on her Etsy store. We'll have a link in our website, and we'll have them on our Instagram. They're adorable. They're these really cute little hearts that say Be Proud in the middle, and there's flowers on the outside, and the flowers are made with our season 2 colors, so it's totally on par. And then with that, we're splitting the profits. So and this is something that Nikki and I have been wanting to do for a while, and we're still working through logistics of what it means to actually start it. But we want to start a scholarship for disability, disarming disability advocates, so that people who want to engage in anything related to advocacy, whether it's going to a conference or taking a class or taking a workshop, that these could be funds to help support people to do that, because it totally falls on par of all of the things that we really care about. We want representation, and we want people to have connection to the leadership opportunities, so that they really are, armed with having all of the knowledge and resources to get out and make actual change. So please stay updated as far as what that looks like in the future, and when funds will be available to be able to access, and sort of what things people would be able to access them for. We're definitely a ways from that, but this is just a seed to start that going. So we're really excited to share. We're really excited for Hannah. We're really excited for the sticker. So please check it out, be proud, and get active.
Yay!
Thank you for spending part of your day with us. We want to give thanks to our network, Public House Media, for our intro beats to Jason Bards with Cybernetics. Our local art, we want to remember Patrice. You can find his work at normalpersons.com.
Be sure to follow Disarming Disability on Facebook and Instagram. And lastly, be sure to check out our website, disarmingdisability.com, where you can find all 13 episodes of Season 1, links to resources, transcriptions, and discussion questions for each episode. And check out our blog, where we feature amazing disability advocates. See you next week.
Bye!